do eye creams work? I think our typical approach is to talk about some of the data around active ingredients, what you should look for in your eye cream, yada, yada, yada. I'm going to share a really quick blip to explain why this is not what we're doing this episode. This is on the eye cream classic caffeine. There's a review paper that talks about all sorts of topical for the eye area, and this is what it says about caffeine. Topical caffeine is an effective means of treating infraorbital dark circles. When applied topically, it can be an asset in treating dark to leaky vessels. A randomized double-blind placebo-controlled study demonstrated the ability of a caffeine-based gel to penetrate the lower eyelid skin and diminish lower eye edema and pigmentation. Wow, sounds great. This is very promising. All the words we love. Double-blind placebo-controlled, yada, yada, yada. And then if you click into the actual paper it's referencing, this is what the paper says. It says, thus the results in figure 3 imply that the cooling effect of the hydrophilic gel occurred from water and ethanol evaporation resulted in heat removal. This heat removal could reduce eye puffiness rather than the vascular constriction of caffeine. And I'll put the result up. There is a decrease in puffiness and whatnot. And you look at the time scale, it's kind of a cooling effect scale that starts at 10 minutes, lasted about 3 hours or so. It actually kind of started dying down pretty quickly. So the conclusion for the paper is that caffeine doesn't do anything. So this is why in the game of telephone, when it comes to eye creams, a lot of one active centric data is very bleh. So I decided we're not going to talk about it on this episode.
I don't know how many times, I mean, you guys can also go back to our previous podcast episode where we specifically talk about caffeine. But caffeine is the biggest example and biggest offender of like has clinical data, but none of it actually substantiates it being used as an active. Like this isn't the only paper that Gloria and I have stumbled on. There's been a couple others that have shown that caffeine just doesn't really do much, or it's just constantly blended with other more heavy duty actives to get that benefit. So again, I don't know how many times we have to say like we hate on, like truly we feel like validated in hating on caffeine as an eye active. So
yeah, absolutely. So today the approach instead is we are going to look at 3 different clinicals that's done by brands on their blend of actives, because eye area concerns are a blend of problems, so it does require a blend of actives. And we're going to start with Revision Skincare's eye cream.
Yeah, so Revision, they have an eye cream that includes 10% THC ascorbate. It does also include caffeine, but the product is going to run you for $120 for half a mil. However, they did do a clinical study. They had 40 subjects that used their eye cream for 12 weeks. They used it twice a day. We should also mention most eye cream studies are going to be using the product twice a day. So we'll put the results up here. They do provide their before and afters. I don't really know why there's 2 different sets of lighting here, but there is. And they also, what's nice is that they actually do show the pigmentation before and after, which I think is a lot more helpful because you can see how the before and after the normal photograph. I got to be honest, if I looked at it, I don't know if I would actually notice a true difference, a significant difference here.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think so in one of the special lightings, you can see the redness, or it kind of translates to the vascular aspect of your dark circles. It looks really cool, really compelling. The redness under your eyes, or the extra blood vessel there, the pooling is basically gone at the end of the study. Super compelling. But then you look at the actual BNA, and I think it really does highlight how complex eye area dark circles are. You can just see that there's some improvement. If you look at one at a time, you can be like, oh, this guy is less red. Some you're like, I think it's less dark. It's just something that, looking at these pictures, I can confidently say a computer will be able to tell the difference 100%. Yeah. But visually, if that degree of improvement is impressive, it's a little less more meh. And we'll put the last chart up here. And it says percent improvement from baseline, like an overall percent improvement from baseline. Put the week 4 stat up and also the week 12 stat up. If you look at the bars, it looks like really nice looking bars. But if you look at the actual number, there is a 1.48% increase from improvement from baseline at week 4 and a 3.1% improvement from week 12.
Yay. I also was just gonna say, looking at the before and afters, I didn't realize this, that they have these really cute arrows trying to show you where you should look at to see those differences. And I'm still looking at it like, of the six arrows that they've placed, I think I can see benefits in maybe 2 of them. So I'm like, it's really tough. This is, and I also feel for brands that do clinicals, because this is a very stubborn skin concern. Like Gloria said, it's complex. So it's like, I know this is a marked improvement, but holy cow, is it really hard to see those benefits.
Yes. So we're going to move on to the next brand that did a comprehensive clinical study on their eye cream, and that is Centi. Centi is, I think, a more derm-focused brand that you can get on dermstore.com. They did their test for 12 weeks too, over just 15 subjects. Their blend is good old niacinamide with a proprietary blend of peptides. And I'll put the BNAs up. They also did the redness of vascular pictures. They also did the brown spot pictures. I should mention that I will put it in the on screen. Revision also did the brown spot pictures, but for whatever reason I forgot to crop it. So from the Centi clinical, the BNAs, again, the really intensive imaging, you can clearly see the redness reduction over time. The brown spot, the brown pigment reduction, you can see the reduction. I will say the degree of improvement doesn't visually look as impressive in the pictures. But if you look at the BNAs, it actually has, I feel the same sentiment towards Centi's before and after as Revision. There are a couple pictures you can clearly see like, oh yeah, that's definitely an improvement, much better. But then there's a couple you're like, okay, you have an arrow for me. I see that. I think it's better. kind of an arrow.
I think especially the second photo, the second subject, it's very clear that in the cross-polarized view, it's very clear there's a reduction, right? But if you look at the actual photo, I'm like, it feels like it kind of, it got worse. You know, it looks like almost, if anything, it just looks the same. I wouldn't be able to tell just by the naked eye. So it's really tough. And I think it just continues to kind of uphold our stance on, you know, it's complex. This is why they try to break down dark circles into different types to try to figure, there's different factors at play that contribute to the overall dark circle appearance. So
100%.
Yeah.
Last but not least, third product that did a clinical on dark circles specifically is our very own Double Play, which I think we have a blog article that shared our clinical journey, but I actually don't think we've walked through this clinical on our podcast before. So Double Play, again, it features 0.3% retinol with 2% haloxyl peptides, and haloxyl is created by Sederma, and that peptide blend was specifically tested in the eye area to help with dark circles. So we did this on 35 subjects for 12 weeks.
Yeah, so because this also included retinol, we needed to make sure that subjects had acclimated correctly. So we did, within this 12-week time frame, also insert a 2-week initial acclimation period. So 2-week acclimation, 10 weeks of full use. And in that acclimation period, they did only use the treatment 3 times a week. So that's just something to keep in mind for everyone. And we'll show the results here. What we did want to note about our clinical study is this was not specifically completely dedicated to dark circles. This treatment was designed so that you didn't need a tiny, jar of eye cream. You could use it for both full face or eye area, however you want to choose, or both. So that's why in these before and afters that we show in these Vizia photos, it's full face. However, you can see the side profile. You can see kind of like the shadowing of certain subjects to give you an idea of the general area of the eye. And although we didn't look at specifically pigmentation, right? We looked at, we didn't look at the skin under different cross-polarized lenses. We did want to mention one piece of data that we're very proud of is not only do we see a significant reduction, but we also wanted to make sure that a good chunk of the subjects saw those benefits.
Right.
Sometimes what can happen is you can have an amazing subject that has great results, and then the rest of your subjects could have not so great results. And if you can imagine, you remember general statistics, that can often skew the average benefit, the average improvement that you're seeing. So I did want to share here that in terms of specifically dark circles, by week 6, 50% of the subjects had seen significant improvement. And then by week 12, 82% had seen a significant benefit. So we're very proud of these results. And so that's why we feel the need to highlight.
Yeah. And you mentioned that the reason why I decided to just go through 3 products and 3 clinicals done on these products is to show that this is the expectation and the standard that you should expect from dark circle treatment. Even though looking at BNAs from like the Centi and the Revision Skincare Clinical, or even our own, if you zoom in at just her dark circles, you might think, well, she still has dark circles. But that is the nature of dark circles, is you shouldn't expect topicals to completely erase it. It's there to help, and these products with clinicals is already kind of the benchmark of what you should target if you want to use a topical treatment of it. I think eye creams is a very abused category where there's so many products. It's just like, it's an eye cream. It's good for depuffing. And there's like nothing to back it up.
One more rant about the eye cream realm. There's 2 things that I don't like, but it can, and it's misleading for consumers. One is for eye creams, they tend to put what we call soft focus optical powders that can instantly blur the area. And we don't consider this as true skincare. This is considered more makeup, and that's totally fine. But what's kind of not, it doesn't feel honest, is that it makes you believe that you're getting like instant results with their eye creams. Sometimes they'll even use it as a stat to say overnight or, in 10 minutes. There's another product that I used to work on and brings me PTSD, but there's certain film formers that can actually, kind of create a smoothing film over the area to help reduce.
That was Victoria's favorite project.
Anyways, long story short, I just want you to know that is not skincare. That is makeup. Okay, so just so you guys know that where some of these crazy claims can come from.
Yep.